Hey y'all, welcome back. I'm Shayna Cersei, and we are going to do another page in our watercolor journal books. Today I am going to be doing some more hydrangeas, but from a much further out view in front of a house or a door. We're going to be doing some very loose watercolor sketching. So let's go over supplies really quick. I'm using my Bauhong 6x9 watercolor journal, 100% cotton paper, 140-pound cold press is in this book. I'm using my Core mini watercolor palette, 12 colors in here, wonderful color selection, here it is. And then I'm also using, I have a couple of brushes here. I have my Velvet Touch 10, 6, and 4, and then there's also a Princeton Select rigger or script liner in here as well. I don't know if I'll use them all, but we will see. That's what I have on hand. So today I'm going to do, hydrangeas are on fire right now in my neighborhood, in our region. Everybody's hydrangeas are exploding. People are like, I haven't had hydrangeas in 3 years, or blossoms in 3 years, and now I have so many I don't know what to do with them. They're just exploding everywhere. So it's a good year for the hydrangeas, including my own. So I'm going to be painting a hydrangea bush. We did a video a few back where we got really detailed and got right down to the details of the bloom. This one is going to be much bigger level. And we're going to be doing some watercolor sketching. So basically I'm not going to sketch anything with my pencil, but I have an image or a sketch. Go out and take an image of maybe the front of your house or a neighbor's house that you admire. Don't be creepy. Or just get an image from online of a front door or house and try to sketch it out without using any pencil, just using your paintbrush. So that's what we're going to do today. So the first thing I'm going to do is kind of figure out or decide where I'm going to put my hydrangea bush. So I'm going to do that kind of like right here on this side, and then I know the front of the house is going to be right here, and I have an idea in mind for a simple siding, a black door with a porch. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty details of it, but just getting my brain around arranging the composition and painting, really using the paint to create shadow, so light and shadow, texture, and color kind of last for what I'm paying attention to. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my hydrangeas. So let's move my color card. We'll put that over there just so you can see it. But I'm going to be using or mixing colors. I do have a Dioxazine purple in here, but I really like to mix my hydrangea colors. So Quinacridone Magenta and Ultramarine will give us a beautiful blue color or purple color. And then the more, take that out of the shadow there, the more ultramarine I add, the bluer the color. So our hydrangeas right now have kind of all different colors. They're insane in a great way. So there are pink blossoms, there are more blue blossoms, there are more purpley blossoms. Over time, they go from more pink to more blue. They're just beautiful. And then there is an undertone of yellow in some of them. So I'm just going to pull a little yellow out as well. And then, of course, sap green. Put that over here. And actually the sap green has a little bit of the green of the petals has it's a little bluer. It's a little cooler than, so I'm just adding some ultramarine to that as well. So I have all the colors I need right now to do some beautiful big hydrangea bushes. So I have like a more magenta, more purple, and a more blue version of those colors. Okay, so I'm going to start over here, and I'm just going to start to put in kind of really light layers. And in my image, I'm going to pay attention to where light is. So light is going to be coming from this top down. So underneath the bush is going to be darker. And right now I'm just putting in blobs of this blue color. Very light, and I can throw in some pink as well. I'm going to leave some white in some of them. We're leaving lots of space for greenery, our leaves that will pop through. I'm going to take some of this yellow. Working with the yellow in this palette is a little challenging. I feel like colors bump into each other. So if you have somewhere else to mix outside, if you have something like this, you can always still use a plate, a ceramic plate, another mixing palette that you might have, a butcher tray. I'm going to put in some really little kind of light yellow ones. And we have some really young ones on our bush right now that are just starting to blossom. And I'm going to put some of this yellow in here. You just got to be careful with your yellows and purples, because they will make, if they're mixed too well, they will make brown. Blues and yellows are okay. They generally make more green, which you're going to be putting in lots of greenery. So you have this beautiful exploding bush here. So many hydrangeas. Now, like I said, the top from here down is going to be lighter. So just remembering that for the future. And the bottom is going to be darker. Things are mostly dry, so I'm just going to put in my in-betweens here. Start to paint in the greenery. And I'm not going for very specific leaf shapes right now. This is just a big blob of a bush. We'll probably put in one or two shapes at the very end that are darker and also more shapely, like you will get the sense of a leaf shape from it. But as I move up, I'm moving quickly, trying not to be too focused, but on, getting it exactly right, just intuitively. Oh, I picked up some red in there somehow, which made a green, or made a brown. I'm just going to put a little peaky blue down here. All right, so you can see I'm starting to build a little bit darker down here. I'm just going to drop in a few spots. This is very wet down here. And then I'm going to let stuff dry and I'm going to come back to it. This is very wet over here. It's not going to be that dark when it dries. A little bit of green in there. All right, so we have the foundation. This is just pooling right here because my book is a little slanted. I will get darker color in there later, but I'm going to let that dry. Okay, so you can already see this is lighter on this side. It gets darker as we go down. More greenery down here. Let's put in that porch and that door. So again, I don't do this. I don't do a lot of kind of urban or architectural sketching. So this is a little new for me too. Not new, it's not like I've never done it before, but I don't do it regularly. And when you don't do something regularly, you're out of practice. So what I'm going to do is I have this image and I kind of know what it looks like. And I'm just going to try to recreate that loosely with my brush. So I'm taking Payne's gray, watering it way down. So I have a nice light gray. My siding is going to be white or mostly gray probably. My door is going to be here. The siding is going to kind of be over here. And my porch is just going to kind of fade into the ether over here. So I put down my first line. This is the kind of start of the porch. The door will be up here and it comes out this way. You can kind of see the top of it a bit, and then we have stairs down here. So that's super light. I'm looking in the camera. I'm like, oh, I don't even know if they can see that. This green bled in there a little bit. It's okay. I'm going to leave white spaces between things where I can, trying not to paint every little inch. So my door is going to be here. It's going to be solid. And I'm going to paint it darker later. But again, I'm just kind of sketching this out. So this bottom half is going to be solid mostly. And right in here, I'm actually going to put like a little gold plate that looks like a little mail slot right there. So I'm just going to paint around that. And then as I get up to here, this is where the door is going to be paned glass. So I know it looks like it's kind of floating out in the middle of nowhere right now, and that's okay. All right, I'm just going to draw in the paned glass. Choo, choo, choo. It's going to go right off the page there. Be up here. So these are the sides. It's not perfect. It's not perfectly even. I'm not going to worry about it. Over here, there is going to be some kind of handle. I'm just popping that in. Everything is still a little wet. All right, so for my siding, I'm going to be putting in these lines of like big siding here. Nice light gray, and then basically just blending it out. Probably could have done one at a time. They would have blended a little easier. Same thing over here. You want your siding to kind of line up or it'll look a little wonky. And again, when you put dark, like a gray or dark color onto a light, a perfectly white background, it can seem really dramatic. But as we build in darker shades or darker values of other colors, when this door gets like really black, these seemingly dark colors right now will end up being much lighter or feel much lighter. All right, and this door is going to have a bit of a case, like like the framing on it that goes around. So I'm going to put that around here, even though my siding kind of went into it on this side. And the handle actually should have been probably lighter, but that's okay. I'm just gonna paint over it now. We might lose a handle. And in the bottom half, there are these panels that are still black, but they're popping out a little bit. So I will blend them in a little bit better than what I've done here. I'm going to add a little bit, I'm going to make my core a little more, I think, yellow. Well, it's going to be very greenish looking if I mix yellow and Payne's gray. Let's actually make it a little more, we're going to go with like this light blue green. We'll see. Got that dark line here. But see how as I put darker colors here and here, that this gray becomes, really does translate kind of as white. And when I do this, it's all about kind of layering. The bottom layers being really diffused details, nothing very specific, kind of just blocking out where things should kind of go. And then as you continue to add layers, the layers get more detailed, more refined. Make this a little wider on this side. I'm going to take my yellow, add a little orange to it, a little more yellow. Tiny bit of blue in there to make it just a little bit more of a gold brassy color. And I'll put more details on that. Okay, let's go back to our hydrangeas. I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. I'm going to pick up some of these darker colors and I'm going to start adding texture. I'm just stippling in. I'm leaving lighter areas. This one we're going to do dark pink down here. You know, I thought I put in so many hydrangeas before, so many blobbed flowers, and now I feel like there's not enough. All right, I'm heading back down to the underbelly here. And again, with each layer, we're just adding in more contrast, more detail. I put one kind of poking out over here. And just kind of keep things tilted to this side in terms of the darkest part of any of the blossoms or the greenery. All right, so we're gonna let that dry again. Back up to these windows. I'm gonna use this blue I have here very lightly. These windows are gonna have some color on them. They're not gonna be perfectly white. They're gonna have some sheen. Make that mostly blue. We'll leave some areas of highlights in there. Probably should have left a few in the middle, but that's okay. All right, back to my door. And then going back in here and just adding some more shadow kind of under the lip of where the siding would be. Let's see, this down here, I'm going to take some of this blue. I don't know why blue. I don't know why I picked these colors down here. It's like a very light tile color in the image I originally looked at, but I'm going to show that there is some texture of tile. I'm not going to worry about it too much. Pull some color out. Super dark right underneath. So now I'm just looking at the little details that can help give this a little bit more structure. Shadows under areas that need them or help define a line. I'm going to put something that suggests this door kind of ends right up here. 2 tall windows, 2 short windows. My windows are definitely a little funky, but that's okay. And I have no door handle. Get my smaller brush. And I'm going to go in darker. Pick up some of this brown here. On this door slot. I'll give it a little detail. And not go all the way over it. There we go. That looks fine. All right, with my smaller brush, can I create a handle on this side? Oh, it's so wet over here. I didn't even realize. Let me pull some of that color, some of that paint out. All right, I think I'm going to, even though it's not on this side, I'm going to put a door handle on this side. That'll be weird because I don't think door handles normally are on that side. Maybe they are. All right, let's put some dark color, green and Payne's gray, like right under here. So we know this touches the ground all the way to the edge. And like I said, you can put in some details of the leaves that are a little more leaf shaped if you want. Really have to wait for everything to be dry, but I don't think it's necessary. But if it's really bugging you, you can. And you only want to put in a couple to just suggest, because most of the leaves are all clumped together anyway, and you wouldn't be able to see that fine of a detail. I'm just putting in a little bit more darker color on the bush itself, right at the bottom here, just to ground it even further. And we'll put in a few little contrasty blobs in here. And I think I can even go a little bit darker on top, much lighter than what I was just doing, but let's put in, we went with a little bit lighter green. A little darker than what's already up here, but lighter than what was down here. Put in a few more blossoms. And there we go. I'm feeling pretty happy with this. Again, just adding in more contrasts, like right where the siding. Now I'm just playing to see how far I can go, and it still kind of translates as white. And I think I need a little bit more up here on this side, a bit more shadow. So nice and sketchy and painterly. I think this is dry enough to do like the suggestion of an outline of a door handle. And then usually there's like some kind of locking system or whatever down here. Got carried away again. There we go. Perfect. Perfect-ish. It works. It shows that there's something there. And I could even go darker in some of my spots in my window. I'm just going and going and going. How long have we been painting? Oh, 30 minutes. Wonderful. So this, I highly recommend going out, taking a picture of something, a building, and just painting. No outline, no trying to get every detail perfect, no rulers, just go for it. And keep playing with it until it's almost like when I do this, I feel like I'm like molding clay, and I just keep kind of going back and like massaging areas and until it kind of just clicks. So these panels down here were just not clicking for me, so I just went back and did a glaze over top, and now I'm like pulling paint off. And I know it's hard. Like I am working on 100% cotton paper. It makes some of this a little easier. I can really abuse the paper a little bit, but that's not always the case. If you're working on some other different quality papers, you might start to wear a hole in your paper. All right, I'm gonna be done. All right, thank you so much for joining me for this little hydrangea kind of urban sketch. Not really urban, very country still, but you know what I mean, architectural sketch. I'm Sienna Cerulean. Don't forget to check out the description for links to the supplies and materials that I use in this video, as well as many others that I use, my full palette of paints of 24 colors that I usually use as well. As the core mini palette, which I have been using lately. So thank you so much for joining me. I will see you soon for our next watercolor journal page, and happy painting, y'all. Take care.